Hey, what's up guys? Sonic here.
And me, MegaCobalt, the true owner of this channel.
In your dreams.
Wait, this isn't another nightmare where I'm stuck in your nerdy videos? Is this real?
Anyway folks, before we get started, let me explain why now we're deciding to debunk this video that's almost 10 years ago. Yikes! Well, one, new info has been released so we can see just how the fight would go today. Two, because we firmly believe that Battle got it wrong when they did it. And three, for the lols.
I prefer the term chips and giggles.
Well, regardless, let's see between Shadow the Hedgehog and Mewtwo who would actually win in a fight to the death. So let's break this down. 1. We will be debunking major points that Death Battle brought up in the original video, where they apply in our list of comparisons. 2. We will be using only video game Shadow with the IDW comics, since there is no definitive stronger Mewtwo. According to all the internet things, trust me, I looked into it. There's a lot on the internet and no one can agree on nothing, so I said, fuck it. We're gonna use all 3 forms of Mewtwo. Each one's gonna have different stats and abilities, but we're also gonna tell you why that's not gonna matter.
Yeah, they seem to use a bit of a trail mix of Mewtwo's.
I prefer the word amalgamation.
Tomato retardo.
Anyway, are you ready?
I'm ready to find a way out. I'm ready!
Oh, and before we start, Boom Shadow is not canon! The Boom series is non-canon to Sonic, and we're not using that version of Shadow in this fight like Death Battle did. Seriously, fuck you, Death Battle. Anywho, let's start with strength. Now, base Mewtwo across all media is roughly physically strong enough to match and possibly beat a maxed out level 100 Charizard, which is possibly strong enough to break mountains or maybe destroy a city, depending on which version you're talking about. But in terms of power, he or she, which is never clear by the way, is at best moon level, since he's weaker than planet level Pokemon such as Rayquaza and Deoxys. But X-Form Mewtwo is roughly 2 to 4 times stronger, which could get them to planet level. Y-Form Mewtwo is not that powerful, he focuses on speed but could be small planet level. And Shadow Mewtwo is arguably the strongest form, at an arguable multi-planet to star level in terms of raw power and strength, which isn't too bad for Mega. What about Shadow the Hedgehog?
Well, Shadow's power and strength is nothing to sneeze at. He might break your legs if you do, though. Anyways, we've seen Shadow be able to tangle with heady hitters like Knuckles, Metal Sonic, and Sonic. Comparing him to Knuckles means you can cause an earthquake and break through solid metal. Comparing him to Metal Sonic means he's anywhere from solar system to galaxy level, as Shadow has beaten the Metal Overlord in generations in base form, which originally took about 3 super forms to beat. Well, 1 super form and 2 super states, which I guess would add up to 2 super forms? To explain real quick what I mean, technically Sega stated that only male Hedgehogs have super forms. Don't ask me why. Which means what we saw from the characters when they use the power-up are not super forms, they are super states. Maybe a beefier version of the invincible power-up, which is why we don't see them in the golden transformation like we do with Sonic, Shadow, and Silph. Just this gold aura instead. Anyways, when they faced him again in IDW, well, Metal Sonic could be scaled to low omniversal, if not more, comparing him to Sonic where he is physically stronger, which means he can make anything he runs past catapult into space. Which on the low end in base form, he's anywhere from Island Continental physically, but he's could also scale to Galaxy or Universal. If we bring up his super form, then we're looking at a high transversal at max.
So it's agreed, Shadow is stronger, right?
Basically, since Mewtwo seems to only use his mind for most lifting, he does have a great power, but compared to Shadow though, By the way, do you think if Mewtwo lift weights with his mind, his brain will grow thicker?
Not sure. It's something to think about.
I think we need more brain power for a better joke.
Anyway, since strength, durability, and scaling go hand in hand, that puts Shadow at Galaxy Plus in base, if not more, to low Omniversal in his super form, and possibly higher if he can take off his inhibitor rings in his super form in all of those categories. Yeah, this is not looking good for Mewtwo so far, but let's look at their speed to see if there's a chance. And Mewtwo is maybe Lightspeed in base and X form, because it doesn't seem to change his stats in speed, but he's possibly 5 to 10 times faster than Light in his Y form, and in his Shadow form he's only maybe 2 times faster since Shadow Mewtwo doesn't have a lot of speed feats. Yikes. Well, this is probably not good, is it? So, Mega, how about Shadow speed? How fast is he?
Shadow is one of the fastest characters in the Sonic franchise. He's able to keep up with Metal and even Sonic himself. And keep in mind, Sonic himself was able to outrun the Infinity Hallway. For more info on Sonic's speed, check out Sonic's video here. Granted, he isn't as fast as Sonic, as far as we know. He couldn't run off the Metal Virus like Sonic did. Still, being even close to Sonic's speed is still no small feat. Not to mention he can also use Chaos Emeralds to warp, slow down time, or put time to a complete stop.
So I think we could say Shadow definitely has infinite to irrelevant speed, just not the same as Sonic, which means he's also faster than Mewtwo. Plus with his time sub ability, he automatically scales to incalculable speed. So Shadow wins in speed and begin to think Mewtwo doesn't have a chance, but we have to talk about their powers and abilities. And here's the first debunk that Death Battle got completely wrong. Yes, Mewtwo can cause amnesia to certain people and certain Pokemon, but he can't affect everyone, especially those stronger than him or her. For example, in the manga, his amnesia didn't affect Deoxys for whatever reason, it just did not work. She didn't try it on Red or Mega Charizard in Pokemon Origins, and Shadow Mewtwo never used it at all. So how the hell could it work on Shadow the Hedgehog when we just proved he's much stronger? Hell, Death Battle admitted Shadow was stronger.
Shadow may have had the advantage in pure speed and power,
but somehow Mewtwo affected him anyway. Even if somehow Shadow could lose his memory to Mewtwo, Shadow wouldn't suddenly forget how to fucking fight. How, you ask? Well, let's see, shall we? Oh yeah, Sonic Adventure 2, he had his memory loss, but he instantly knew how to talk and fight against a gun mech. Then Sonic Heroes, he was attacked by Omega, and instead of just standing there like a moron, he actively moved around until he went for the attack on Omega, directly, right in front of him, like center line, and Rouge was like, stop fighting. So if it wasn't for Rouge, Omega would be dead. Like, straight up, he would. So I'm sorry, but just no, Mewtwo could not mind wipe Shadow, or at least it wouldn't make him forget to fight, because it's baked into his very DNA. Plus, in Shadow Generations, Black Doom tried to mind control Shadow, and while he did bring out Shadow's Black Arm's powers, Shadow still resisted his influence, so yeah, none of Mewtwo's mind powers would work on Shadow at all.
Death Battle mentioned him being mind controlled, but the thing is, that's not the main Shadow that happened to. That was Boom Shadow. Boom Shadow is much weaker. They also mentioned every time Shadow gets his memory back, he just forgets all over again. He only lost his memory twice. And it's been 2 decades since then, and he hasn't lost it since. Other issues is Shadow's personality in that video. That's not Shadow, that's just freaking Vegeta the Hedgehog, the ultimate prince of egos. Shadow doesn't act like that. He's not extremely cocky. He acted more like Boom Shadow. But even Boom Shadow wasn't that bad, even though he was a petty bitch.
Now then, Mewtwo could use his psychic powers to move Shadow around, but with how powerful he is, he'd probably break out of the psychic control, or just be too fast for Mewtwo to pull it off. Not to mention, even if Mewtwo does magically hit Shadow with a psychic attack, Shadow is going to think, well, this guy uses psychic powers like Silver. Guess I have to rush him to make sure he can't see me. Yeah, there's almost nothing Mewtwo can do with his or her psychic power. that Shadow hasn't seen from Silver or other villains. So yeah, Mewtwo's powers are rendered useless, and don't bother bringing up the Shadow Ball attack. It's too slow to hit Shadow the Hedgehog, plus I argue Shadow's Chaos Spear would easily overpower it and one-shot Mewtwo.
Agreed. Shadow was able to handle Silver just fine, which even gave Sonic a run for his money.
As for weapons, well, what do you think? Is a giant spoon versus an alien sword, or a gun? It's not much of a competition, is it?
Forget the sword. Shadow can use his Chaos Spears like an actual spear, which he used to stab Super Neo Metal while he was still in base form.
Yeah, this fight wasn't close back then, and it isn't close now. No joke, even if we fused all of Mewtwo forms into one, he'd barely get to solar system level. Base Shadow would be, and I shit you not, about 1 million times stronger, since there's bare minimum 1 million solar systems in a galaxy. So yeah, in every possible way, this fight is not close at all. And even if you want to bullshit Mewtwo to Universal due to bullshit excuse here, Shadow would still be stronger by a factor of infinity. So I'm sorry Pokemon fans, but the ultimate Pokemon is nothing compared to the ultimate life form. The winner is Shadow the Hedgehog. Do you disagree, Mega?
Nope. And look, I'm a big Mewtwo fan as well. Well, until Lucario took his place. Heck, I'm still in the camp of Mewtwo is the strongest Pokemon in the world. Gen 1's battle losers. But even I know Mewtwo can't even hold a candle to Shadow's power.
So there you have it, folks. The first debunk of the year is done. We proved Death Battle wrong, and this is just the start. We've got more to debunk and more battles to talk about in the future, so stay tuned for those by liking, commenting, and subscribing to both our channels. And if you don't, you're going to lose your memory. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Say goodbye, Mega.
Goodbye, Mega.
Oy vey. Stay awesome, everyone. And as always, a Dragon Fist. Hiya.
And ignite that spark.